Hello, my name's Andrew Brooks. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video, we're going to be looking at a really unusual Beatles EP release. It was an EP that was officially released, but you could never buy it. Now, some of you may have already guessed which EP I'm talking about, but some of you may be thinking of an EP that was released on the 6th of December 1965, and it was called the Beatles Golden Discs. Well, you'd be wrong. You could actually have bought that EP back in 65. Admittedly, it came in this sleeve, and this sleeve is called the Beatles Million Sellers because basically it was an EP made up of records that had sold 1 million copies. But the original title of it, and as you can see from the EP here, if I can hold it up, get it camera right, it's actually called the Beatles Golden Discs. So they obviously pressed the record and then changed their mind to call it Beatles Million Sellers. But that was corrected in 1981 with the release of the Beatles EP box set. Because if you take the Beatles Million Sellers EP out of the box set, and if you take the record out, you will actually see that the record is now corrected to the Beatles Million Sellers. Now, I know Andrew from Parlogram Records has actually covered this EP, the Lost EP. Here's a link to it here. It's a great channel. Check him out. I love it. It's brilliant. I watch it all the time. And I did at the start of the video say, if you're thinking of that one, you'd be wrong. And here's the reason why. Going back to the 7th of December 1981, which is almost 26 years to the day of the release of Beatles Golden Discs, we had this beauty. This is my original one that I bought in 1981 with hard saved up pocket money. I was 15 at the time. And yeah, it's the Beatles EP collection, and it contains all of the Beatles EPs that were ever released. And they've obviously been repressed and issued in this lovely box, which obviously matches the Beatles albums set that came out round about the same time. So remember, I said there's a Beatles EP that was officially released, but you could never buy. And when I say you could never buy, I mean you could never go into the shops and say, I want to buy that EP, because it was only available in that particular box set. It was like a special rarities EP. And here it is here. It's got the same sleeve as the Strawberry Fields 7-inch single, but on the reverse, as you can see, it's got a nice purple strip and some writing with the track listing information. It even got its own catalogue number. Now, back in the 60s, most of the Beatles EPs, they began sort of like GEP and then some numbers. This one has got SGE1 as its catalogue number. So it was officially released, and you couldn't buy it anywhere else but in that box set. But what's on it, I hear you ask? Well, I can give you a little rundown of what was on it, or is on it, because it's still there. You've got The Inner Light, Baby You're a Rich Man, She's a Woman, and This Boy. And they were all like a rarities EP because they were all issued in stereo. But wait. So going through each track individually, The Inner Light was the B-side of Lady Madonna, and it also appeared on this rarities album, which accompanied the box set, the Beatles albums box set. And as I said, it was officially released in here, allegedly in stereo. And neither the single nor the rarities are in stereo. In fact, the only time this ever appeared in stereo was here. For the very first time, it was in true stereo, which was almost worth buying the box set back in 81 to hear, for the first time ever, a stereo, The Inner Light. The next track is the B-side of All You Need Is Love, which is Baby You're a Rich Man. Now, the single was issued in mono. They claimed that it was issued in stereo on this, which is the American copy of Magical Mystery Tour, released in '67. Unfortunately, this is mock stereo on here, so it's not true stereo. And in fact, the very first place that you could actually hear Baby You're a Rich Man in true stereo was in this fabulous box set. Now, I've covered this box set in a previous video. Click here for a link if you want to check it out. This box set is, oh my God, if you're a collector of Beatles rarities and just want to hit, it's 8 LPs. It's what the Red and Blue album should have been, but it wasn't. If you can get one of these, get it, because it's a true collector's item and you will love it and play it forever. Next up, the next track is She's a Woman, which was obviously a single coupled with I Feel Fine, and that was in mono as a 7-inch single, as most Beatles singles were. It also appeared on this Rarities album, again in mono, not in stereo, and in fact the only place you could ever hear it in true stereo before the release of this EP that I'm talking about was once again in this fantastic box set. Now, interestingly, the EP actually is longer than any other version of She's a Woman that you'll ever find, because on here there's a counting. McCartney goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and that has not appeared anywhere else apart from maybe anthologies issued later. But it's on here. It's the longest version of She's a Woman that you could find at the time. And the last track on this EP, the 4-track EP, is This Boy. It was the B-side of I Want to Hold Your Hand. As a single, it was in mono. It's incorrectly labelled stereo on that EP. And in fact, it was also labelled as stereo for the first time on this album, The Beatles Love Songs, incorrectly. There was no true stereo version of this song at the time, and in fact it's this mock stereo that we seem to get in the 80s when no one could find the original master tapes of the stereo recordings. In the 90s we even got a new box set release of the EPs, and that's in compact disc form. And in the compact disc EP set, they released this as well. As you can see, it's a companion piece to the Big Brother. It's exactly the same as this version, apart from on the back, I'll show you that, it's got a black stripe with a barcode, and this is a purple stripe. That's the only difference. Again, it's exactly the same track listing as on the record, and it's got the same recordings. So if you're on the lookout for this missing EP, the only one you could get in the box set, this might be a cheaper option than the original vinyl. I know these still go for a fair penny, as do the original EP box sets. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave me a remark, a comment, whatever you like. I do read them all, and I do answer the ones that need a reply. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.